I've had a few people ask me what the heck is a Terra Tiger, because in the video I did about the Allis Chalmers garden tractor, I mentioned in the beginning the Terra Tiger because they were parked next to each other. If you watch that video, you'll know I was going to give this tractor away or sell it or whatever. And I got tons and tons of messages. It was a tough thing. I ended up pulling in a bunch of my family and reading all the messages to all of them, and we decided, when all was said and done, that the winner is a fella who teaches a shop class at a school for troubled teens. He's going to take it there. They're going to finish fixing it up, you know, make it a little more reliable and nicer, and he's supposed to be coming to get it this week. But back to the Terra Tiger. They didn't make them for long. Allis Chalmers bought this product line from another company, and I can't remember. I think I have some literature that says what it used to be. So there are some of these out there that I think they were red and black, that are exactly the same thing. Allis Chalmers didn't do any of the engineering on it. They just bought it ready to go into production, and I'm not even sure that they built them in their factory. I think they just had them make them green and put their stickers on them and sold them. But I'm not positive of that. If anybody knows, feel free to comment. They made two models. So this was a 10 horsepower, and then I think they made a 16 horsepower model too. They were both single cylinder, air cooled, 2 strokes. The smaller one, this is the same as the one that I used to ride when I was a little kid, which was my grandfather's. I mentioned some of that story in a previous video about my Allis Chalmers garden tractor, and I'll go into that some more. But that one had a Rockwell JLO. You really don't see many of these things. But to answer the question, what the heck is a Terra Tiger? It's amphibious. It's completely waterproof up to the float line, you know. And it's pretty cool. If you go on go on eBay and just search Terra Tiger, you won't find many Terra Tigers. Occasionally you do. But what you'll find is a bunch of literature with cool pictures of like dudes out fishing with them. You know, they drive them out in the lake and just shut them off and fish. And I don't know if I would dare to do that, but yeah, well, maybe. Because the muffler, like this video is going to show you, I'm working on an exhaust system, but the muffler is right under the Tiger here, just about, pretty much. So I don't know if I would trust it to be not running, because the water could go back up in, but I do think it floats high enough that wouldn't be a problem. But yeah, that's in a nutshell, that's a Terra Tiger. Well, I guess I'm terrible at making YouTube videos is the moral of the story for this afternoon. I went out to bring it in, and it was running when I parked it out back. But that was, you know, a year or maybe 2 ago. The engine is a brand new, you know, Chinese clone engine, and it's pretty well covered up. I thought that'd be fine. Well, it wasn't. It was slightly seized, so I had to get the plug out, get some oil in there, and rock it back and forth. Finally, it came around. I could crank it over, and then no fuel, tanks full of varnish, emptied that, fresh gas in, still wouldn't run. Luckily, it's warmed up considerably. It's really nice out, because then I had to take the carburetor off, bring it in, clean it, put it back on, and away she goes, fired up. And I got absolutely none of that on video for you, so sorry, but you'll have to believe my description. It was horrible. I drove it in here though. It was running. Should have got video of that too, but didn't. So don't be too angry. Tires they don't hold air for more than a couple minutes, so you got to kind of blow them up and go. Because when the tires are flat, it rides really terrible. It'll bounce you right out. When I brought it home, I guess maybe it was early winter, and me and a couple buddies went to get it in a freezing rain and snowstorm. We got there to get it. It was in worse condition than I thought it was. I almost didn't buy it, but you know, the guy came down some on the price, and I dragged it home. But all these shafts in the front, if you know anything about Terra Tigers, you know that if they are stored outdoors, all this stuff seizes up. So all the steering clutches, the secondary clutch, everything was just seized completely. So back when I got it, I tore all that out, freed it all up, made a bunch of new bushings, put it all back together. That all works pretty good now, except for the famous Terra Tiger chains popping off, which I don't know if there's a solution or not. I'm gonna see if I can get them tighter. I don't know. It's a horrible design. It just doesn't work well. But anyways, I got all that done. Got the engine. The engine came with it, but it wasn't in. It had never been put in. So I got the engine in, everything lined up, and it was running, driving. But the exhaust blows right on you when you're sitting in the seat here. The exhaust is blowing right on you. Plus, there's no room for my knees because of the big cover, which is always hot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a flange. I'm going to come off here with an elbow, nice and tight. I'll probably have to make a bracket to hold it, and then back here with another elbow, which should point me right out through the hole, which someone has hacked and mutilated in the hull. I'll have to try to seal that up because it'd be nice if it floated. That's kind of part of its charm, right? It's supposed to float. So I'll have to try to seal that hole up somehow. And then I got some tinkery things. I'm considering just making a new seat out of plywood because this one's fiberglass and it's all broken. I don't know anything about fixing fiberglass, especially structurally. I'm thinking if I make one out of wood, my wife probably could make me a cover for it. Maybe, I don't know. And I want to get, the headlight working and some other piddly things like that. Get the floor. I've got the floor. It's kind of smashed, but I want to get the floor in it. It covers up the drive chain so you don't get your legs ripped off and things like that, which are not a huge deal, but some people get fussy about, after you get back from a ride, they want to be able to walk and everything. So it also needs, this engine has a fuel tank on it, so it's okay, I guess. So I guess low on my list of things to do, things to maybe do is I'd have to find or make a new flange with a gas cap, and then it takes rubber hose down to like a boat gas tank would work if I could find something. Strap that in and then just run a fuel line. That's how it's supposed to work. I also don't know if this probably would need a fuel pump in that situation, which shouldn't be a big deal. I probably could find one in my pile, but that's the saga of the Terra Tiger. These things, you can't buy parts for them. Most places just have no idea what you're even talking about. Allis Chalmers collectors, they know. Those are the guys. Those are pretty much the only guys that want these. For me, it just has some sentimental value because I have a lot of memories of one when I was a kid. I don't know if I'm going to keep it, if I'm just gonna fix it and sell it. I have a friend who's a tractor collector. He has a lot of barns full of tractors and stuff. I don't know if he has room to store it. My problem is I don't have room to store it inside. So storing it outside is just not gonna work. If I can't get it stored somewhere, I might better get rid of it. But I like, I don't know if you noticed or not, but I like just tinkering on things. So I'm gonna monkey around, get a few things checked off the list, make it so it's a little bit less horrid, I guess. And then it'll either be all ready to go get stored somewhere, or it'll be all ready to get sold, whichever the case. I understand my sentimental value doesn't translate to actual value, so that's fine. But maybe somebody else will love it, somebody who can keep it inside and stuff like that. If you know anybody with junk, I mean, you know me, I have a junk Terra Tiger, but if you know other people with a junk Terra Tiger or Terra Tiger parts, I would like to know, because there's a few things that I can't buy, like that hood, for example. There's a little louvered hood thing that goes on there, and yeah, I could make a piece of metal, I guess, and cover the hole, but it would be nice to have the actual thing that belongs there. I've considered buying stickers. I've been told that this hull, the top, the green, will if you get a real heavy cutting buffing compound, you can buff that out. I can't believe it, but I've been told on the interwebs I might try to put a little shine on it. I want to get the exhaust done and get all the crap cleaned out and get the floor pan in it so it's just a little bit less, horrifying. And I don't know, like I said, it really needs 6 new tires. These things originally they had the worst tire ever. It was actually called a Terra Tiger. I remember them. You couldn't buy them anywhere. Nobody could get them. And what they were was a one piece. The rim, everything was all one molded piece. So once you sprung a leak, that thing was garbage. And they were all just garbage. By the time I was old enough to be riding a Terra Tiger, it was all the tires were garbage. You'd blow them up and they'd hold air maybe for an hour. But this one's been converted to a rim of some sort. I don't know what that's off of. If it's a ATV maybe or something, like an old 3-wheeler rim or something like that. I don't know. I assume I could probably get the tires really are supposed to be a little bigger. I assume I could probably get replacement tires for them, and maybe they're not that expensive. I might check that out. But that's the story of the Terra Tiger, and I apologize I didn't get video of all my trials and tribulations getting it inside. I'll get plugging away here and I'll keep you posted on how this project's going. Well, I made a little flange for the exhaust. It's funny. All it is basically copying the stock muffler, but it's going to accept this pipe, which I'll weld in there. I bored part way through, so the pipe registers in there. But it looks a little lopsided, and I didn't realize until the very last side that when I put it in the vise this way, I was lining up the edge of this hole and the edge of this hole, setting that straight and then taking a cut, right? But then when I put it in the vise this way, this is a smaller hole. So when you line them up, it's a different angle. And that's why it's a little lopsided. That's okay though. It's gonna work just fine for what we're doing. So now I can bolt this on the motor, and then I can start monkeying around with the pipe. I can get the exhaust run forward and away from my legs. All right, so I've got my flange bolted on there just like the stock muffler was. The gasket even survived, so that's nice. And I bought these are mandrel bent pieces. Bought 2 of them. They came in a box of 2, and that way you get a nice sharp bend, and it's open, it's not all kinked up. I didn't have to miter it and weld it and all that crap. Pretty cheap, really, well worth a little money. So all I'm going to do is put that in there, and the first thing it's going to run into is that cooling fin right there. So all I want to do is cut off the distance from here to here, plus a little bit of cushion. It's like 5 3/4. Cut that much off, that'll put this elbow right in here tight, and I'll just go from there. There it is. Let's see how she looks. Yep, it'll work. It just clears. It's gonna be awful to take that bolt out, but I think with a wrench, an open end wrench, might be possible. Check that out before we weld her together. Yeah, that'll work. Should be able to just make a little bracket that I can bolt to the engine block here, and then I'll take the other piece of mandrel bent and I'll weld it on here so that it comes up and turns and heads towards that. And then I've got some flex pipe to use in between so that the vibrations aren't translating to the hull, All I'm going to do is make the bend, and then I'll go flex pipe from there. And I probably have to jerry-rig the muffler that I found to accept that flex pipe too. So we'll see. I don't know exactly how that's going to work out. I think I've even got some header wrap. I can wrap this so it doesn't heat up the gas tank. I let this pipe lay around so long it got rusty, which is kind of stupid because once it starts, you really can't stop it. But I'm just wire wheeling it to clean it up. Okay, I made a little bracket here, a little angle bracket. Pipe sitting right on it there. I'll just trim it and then I'll weld it to the bottom. I've got some witness marks here and here to show me how to orient that elbow. So I think I'm ready. I'll pull this off, put them on the bench, stack them, see how that looks, put it back on, and then I can get the elbow up here lined up, and then it should be starting to look like something. All right, got it all tacked and test fit. Seems like it's going to work. I'm going to tack on this second piece. Go ahead and weld everything up, I guess. Might be ugly, don't know. Not the greatest welder. Alright, watch your eyeballs. We're good. You know what? It's still hot. Hard to hate that. Coming off the, where that stock muffler stacked up there, but remember that thing came out here quite a ways, great big box. So we're going from there. We've got it bracketed so it shouldn't vibrate too bad. And then we'll just put a clamp there, and then that flex pipe will go out. I'm gonna have to make a flange that's gonna cover that big gaping hole. I'll silicone it all in, and then I'll weld a piece of this, what leftovers of this pipe, I'll just weld right through it, and then this flex pipe will hook onto this side, and then on the outside we'll figure out how to hook a muffler onto it. I found that muffler over there. Might work, I don't know. I tacked on this piece of tube, and I think what I'm gonna do, see, the muffler goes up underneath. There's kind of a pocket that it sits in, and then and the muffler comes through the hull right there. So you can see kind of, that's where it has to be. It really can only sit one way. And I think what I'm going to do is put it like that. I made some marks on it. So it was poking up through the hull thusly. This will be cut off, flange welded on, and then I think I can weld to the flange on the inside. I can just weld a small piece of this, as long as it dumps out somewhere into that tube that's cut at an angle. Should be okay. And then the flex pipe will clamp right to this on the inside. And then to make it stay fastened to the machine, on the inside I can make another flange just about like it that just slips over this, has clearance holes that can bolt in to the tap holes that are on this flange. So I should be able to put a bunch of silicone on the outside, on this side of this welded flange, and then a whole bunch of silicone on this side of the flange that comes out from the inside, and then run the 4 bolts in and sandwich the fiberglass hull in between 2 steel plates with blobs of oozy silicone coming out all over. And with any luck, not sink. That'd be cool. Gotta remember to get a paddle to put in here, and maybe a bucket to bail out water. Smart. What we got? Some stuff. Look at that. That looks like a Terra Tiger part already. Wow. Turns 1 into 2. Oh boy, look at it. Something else to fix. Great. Nope. We're just gazing at how awesome the logo is. It's the eye of the tiger. You got a guitar riff in your head right now, right? You're welcome. My new Christmas present. Watch. GoPro, start recording. What? GoPro, stop recording. What is this sorcery? Okay, here's a little tip for you. This is free advice, and like they say about free advice, it's usually worth every penny. I want to drill 4 holes in these parts, all this, the same spot, so why not drill them both together, right? So problem is I only cut them in the bandsaw, so one's not tight. Right, so here it is. You take your stick that you mixed Bondo with the other day, you break off the Bondo part, and you can skip that step if you haven't mixed Bondo. Open your vise up. You guys probably already know this. And then you just crank her right down. And you crunch that piece of wood in it. The part that's bigger will crush it more. The other part, crush it not so much. And you end up with the parts tight. Works in any vise, for anything, be in your drill press, whatever. That could be 5 pieces. Maybe, if they're close enough, it'll work. Just gives you a cushion. Gives it, it's an equal squeezalizer, is what it is. Next time you're walking through the paint department at the hardware store or the big box store, grab a whole handful of the stir sticks that are free. Paint stir sticks are perfect for this. If you're a guy with a drill press, this is an awesome option. If you're a guy with a machine shop, yeah, I could stand these up and I could mill them together so they're exactly the same size and probably hold them. But even still, you're probably going to get a little variation. It's not a bad idea to always do this. Just saves you some screwing around. Old man tip. Okay, there it is. So yeah, there's a video on the channel about sharpening drills. Check it out if that's a thing that you could use. And I just wanted to point out that I just sharpened the end of this end mill, just the end. You know, don't monkey with the sides trying to do that. But it had gotten rounded over on the corners. I basically use it as a drill just to open up that hole for the pipe to fit in. So I really did the same thing. Just take what you see in that video and kind of apply it to other things if you can. An end mill is just, you know, the end of it is essentially just a drill that's almost flat. They're actually the opposite. They're this way a little bit, so that when you cut, it cuts with the outside tips first rather than the center first. But you know, just to kind of point out that you can take something that you know and you can apply it to something else that you don't know, and then now you know what you didn't know. You know? So far, this is going horribly. It turns out that this barely fits up into the little cavity there, and when you add the thickness of this plate, it doesn't fit anymore. So I think I've got it I think I know how to get it just sort of crooked enough and stuff, and down as far as I can. I think I might be able to get it in there. What I'm going to do is just tack it and try it. The old tack it and try it method. Fails every time. So get a few tacks in it, see if there's any hope of this actually working. I really need a smaller diameter muffler, but you know what? I'm fresh out of them. Wow. I just tried it, and I think that's the perfect amount of crookedness that a Terra Tiger needs. So, you know, that's amazing. I think I can even weld here. Maybe, I don't know if I can weld in there. That's maybe not, but I don't think you need to weld all the way around, right? I mean, that's outside the hull, so that's fine. No, probably not okay. But I don't think it'll, you know, be a big deal. It just, well, it could catch on fire. I guess it'd be the worst case scenario, but yeah, I guess that would be bad enough. I'm gonna try it. We're just gonna go with it and keep going. I think it'll be great. Oh, that came out great. Sorry, all the welders just spit their coffee all over their computer screen. I apologize for that. But you know what? I got down in there. She's melty, melted together. Doesn't have to be pretty. I don't have to date it. It's out of sight. I think it's perfect. I'm gonna throw it in there and see if it's even gonna work. I may just have to throw all of this in the scrap. Well, maybe not the scrap bin. Someplace out of sight where I might pick it up someday and use it for nothing. Well, I think the Operation Terra Tiger exhaust is completed. So we've got the flange on there. We got high performance header wrap. Maybe we won't even boil the gas in the tank. I don't know. And then we go out through there. I had to clip. I can't with it's the light. Okay. I had to clip the corner off of the piece that's on the outside, the other flange, because the fiberglass here is tapered off. So this hole's not doing anything, you know. And then, like as promised, you know, there's slobbering silicone oozing all around. And then I even added some more because there was still kind of a hole here behind there that I couldn't, you know, cover because it kind of wrapped around the edge. So we'll just silicone it up. You know, that's the best way, I think. And then I'll just try to forget about it. Put it out of my mind. That way I don't worry about it when I go driving into water. I can't take it for a water cruise right now because my pond is full of hard water. You know, kind of cold out. I'll have to wait until springtime, I guess, to try it out. I don't know if I can wait, but
well, I guess I don't have any choice unless I were to take it to Florida. Could do that. Yeah, I'll think about it. But yeah, that's it. And then on the outside, you know, you go over here, you look right under the eye of the Tiger, and you can see the muffler. There she is. She's pretty, I don't know, seems pretty sturdy. The way it is, it hides all of the welding that I did. I always try to plan out my job so that my welds are not supporting life and out of sight, if possible. That's my thing. You don't have to worry about suspension, you know, closing the gap here because there isn't any. So I think it's gonna work. I'm gonna set you up on the tripod so I don't have to try to hold the camera, and we'll fire it up. We'll see what it sounds like. My suspicion is it'll sound exactly like it did before, but who knows? Maybe it got more awesomer. Oh, and if you ever buy one of these Honda clone engines, here's a tip. On mine anyways, maybe they don't build any two of them the same, but on mine the choke is labeled backwards, which is really not handy. Once you figure it out, if you remember, that's good. So choke on is where you want it when it's running. Choke off is choke on. So you understand. That's all I'm going to run it because, you know, carbon monoxide and whatnot. I don't really want to open the door and let all the heat out because it's freezing. This is the floor thing that goes down in there to cover up all the drive chains and such. It's already pre-broken right where I need it to be broken, I guess. Because this engine isn't the same as the original, it's not going to work quite right. So I'm just going to snip off that. I think it'll slide right in beside the motor, and this will even somewhat cover the clutch up, so that might work. It probably won't, but you never know. It's not much good if it doesn't, because it's pretty well broken. Be working except for this. This is broken. Not so much here, but here. Looky there. Huh? Tidied it right up. That's all right. Covers up the clutch. Have your foot there and not grind off the side of your shoe. Covers up all them drive chains that are whipping and slinging grease all the time. You know, grabbing your ankle and ripping your foot off. I think that's an improvement. Now I got to think about fuel system, tires. Do I want to do a little fluffing and buffing on it? I don't know. Go ahead and do the down in the comments there. Tell me, what do you think I ought to do? Sell it? Clean it up? Keep working on it? Scrap it? Burn it? Put it in storage somewhere inside? I don't know. You can see that it's, I don't know if people were smaller when they designed this, or if they just didn't happen to have any tall ones around to take measurements off of, maybe. Oh, you know what? It got a lot better getting that exhaust, getting that muffler thing out of here. It's much less awkward. So that's good. It's story time now. So I wanted to tell you about the Terra Tiger that my grandfather had. He was a New Holland farm machinery dealer. New Holland used to have a program where you'd save up points, your sales for the year. They'd give you this catalog and you could pick a gift out of it or whatever. And it would have anything from, you know, earrings for your wife all the way to a beautiful Allis Chalmers Terra Tiger. So one year, must have been a good year, Gramp had big enough sales that year that he got the Terra Tiger. And it was exactly like this one. He had a great time with it. I've heard the same story from so many old farmers that it has to be true. It must have happened all the time. Somebody would come to the dealership and he wouldn't let them leave until they went for a ride on his Terra Tiger with him. So they'd hop in and away they'd go, and he would not tell them that it was amphibious, and he'd go headlong right into the pond with them and you know, scare the crap out of them. So Gramp, you know, he had his fun with it for years, and then he put it away in the barn, and then it went through a lot of grandkids' hands over the years. When it was my turn, where I lived, we had trails all around, and we rode it a lot. I don't know, probably had it for 2 or 3 years maybe, and rode it. Took my friends for rides, and we had a pond out back. We could go drive around in the pond. It was great fun. All right, that's that. Story time's over. I'm gonna probably have to get this out of here because I had a little incident when my plow truck caught a little bit on fire, and I had to put it out with snow beside the road. So I need to get that in and do a little fixing on it, much as I hate the idea of it. Hey, take a minute and cruise through my channel, see if there's anything else there that interests you. Click subscribe, click the little thumbs up. Heck, if you want to, click on the bell. That'd be great. Appreciate it. Thanks for watching. God bless you. God bless America. Bye-bye.